Okay, so this is a guide to Affliction Warlock in 5.1. To start out off, we're going to look at the stats and how they should be. Um, First, like all spell class, you're going to have to maximize intellect. Um, Past there, specifically for Affliction Warlocks, you're going to want your haste at 4717 or higher. That's your haste break point. Um, then past that, you're going to want your hit to be at 15%. I don't have that quite yet because I had to have the haste cap first. For Affliction Warlock, you don't have to be hit cap because whenever your dots don't hit, you don't lose that much DPS. So you just hit it again. You're only losing a global cooldown worth of DPS, which is less than one tick. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna maximize your intellect, and I have the wrong gem in there. By using full int gems as much as possible, like in my gloves here. Um, Then past there, you're gonna put in your blue sockets intellect and hit to help with the hit cap. For oranges, you're gonna want to put intellect haste, and I have intellect for some reason. Um, and that's about it in the way of gymming. For your reforging, you're going to want to maximize your haste up to the 4717 cap. So like right here, going to reforge out of crit into haste. Crit is one of your worst stats, so if you have something that's crit mastery like this, you're going to want to reforge out of the crit and leave the mastery on it, because your mastery increases the damage done by agony, corruption, and unstable affliction per point of mastery. And professions wise, I have tailoring and engineering. Personally, I have those for the light weave embroidery, and the engineering for the sign up springs, which increases your intellect, agility, or strength by 1920 for 10 seconds. It's a 1 minute cooldown. It's pretty nice to have a little bit stronger set of dots every minute or so. Once you have your 4717 haste, you've maxed out your intellect, and you're as close to hit cap as possible, or at hit cap. You're gonna maximize your mastery, because that'll increase your DPS more directly than the others. Now that we've done the gear, spec-wise, of course, you're going to spec into Affliction. For the level 15 tier, you're going to want Harvest Life. You can use Dark Generation because it's a nice heal in a raid situation, but Harvest Life, I like it a little bit better because as Affliction or AoE really sucks. For tier 30, the best one that I found is Shadow Fury. Personally, I pick it because I use it on Will to stun the ads. You can use Mortal Coil for that nice little heal. Of course, Halitaire. For the 45 tier, since we're using Grimoire of Sacrifice, Soul Link is kind of, I don't know, it's not useless, but it's not as good. So I go with Dark Barding. It's good for, like, if you know you're standing in the bad and you need a few extra seconds to get out of it, or say it's something like on Elegon where you have the Total Annihilation, you can totally mitigate it at all, or you can get yourself out of this sticky situation. Um, for the level 60 tier, a lot of people pick Unbound Will because it's a dispel, but I pick Burning Rush. Personally, this tier really doesn't matter much in the way of DPS. Um, Burning Rush, I pick it usually just so I can get back to the boss after a while. For the level 75 tier, there's been some craft on which one is better. Grimoire Sacrifice wins by a long run. Grimoire Supremacy is the second best. It does have good perks like the Terror Guard. It's quite a bit better than the Doom Guard. And the Summon Observer is what you're going to be using if you pick this. It has some pretty nice single target damage. As for the level 90, if you're good at being able to predict damage and pop a cooldown right before something hits, then Archimonde's Vengeance would probably be the best for you because you can say, like, again on an Elegon, right before Total Annihilation, you can pop it on Elegon and it'll give you a little bit extra damage. But I personally pick Kill Jaden's Cunning because it allows you to run and spellcast at the same time. For some fights like Will or the what's his name, third boss, no, not third, but fourth boss in Heart of Fear, I use Manwild's Fury for the extra AoE. It helps it reach a larger range whenever you're going to use Soulburn, Seed of Corruption for the extra corruption on AoE. As for glyphs, most of these are just cosmetic. The ones that I use and really need are Glyph of the Soul Shards, which gives you one more Soul Shard, which is kind of required. Glyph of Siphon Life, your corruption spell heals you for 20% of the damage dealt. It does a considerably large amount of your DPS, so I definitely pick this. You can use Glyph of Life tap, but it's been some situations where I'll have the absorb effect stack really high and it get a little rough on the healers. So that's just personal preference. Those are the only ones that are really good for Affliction. You don't want to get the Everlasting Affliction. That'll be a 20% damage nerf to your DPS. So yeah, don't want to use that one. A lot of people do use it because they only read that it does the 50% longer. If you do PvP, you can use Glyph of the Unstable Affliction. Whenever it's dispelled, it'll do crit damage to whoever dispels it, but it doesn't silence anymore. And then all the minors are really just personal preference. I know a lot of people use the verdant spheres because it looks kind of cool. I personally like the purple look on the soul shards. And that's it for the specs. The main spells you're going to be using are, of course, your dots, which are Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction. And then you're going to be using Haunt. It's probably the most important spell in an Affliction, determining good DPS from bad DPS. Um, you're going to be using cooldowns like Dark Soul Misery, any kind of trinkets you have, and Doom Guard, which can be used a variety of different ways to get the most DPS. Of course, you got your buff, Dark Intent, which you're going to want to keep up. Mages give the same buff, and I think a Hunter Pet can too, so you might not always have to put that one up. Okay, those are the main ones you use, besides, of course, Malefic Grasp, which you're going to be using as a filler. What I use for tracking dots and keeping up with all my procs and stuff is weak auras. I'll just show you. It puts icons and bars to show you how much you've got either left on a buff, or when a buff comes up, when you're missing something, and stuff like that. I'm not going to go through how to set it up and everything, but this is the way it looks. I've got it set up to show me the time left on Unstable Affliction, Corruption, and Agony, as well as the duration left on my Potion of the Jade Serpent, the duration left on my Flash Frozen Resin Globule, and my Dark Soul Misery. Because you're going to want to, whenever you do your dots, you're going to want to refresh them right at the end of those buffs. As well as the same for your procs. I've got one set up for this trinket, Mithril Wristwatch, because it gives you a 5,424 spell power increase. It doesn't proc that often, but it's a nice boost whenever you get it. I'm actually looking to replace it at the moment. So rotation wise, this is what the way I usually start off is I summon my pet and put up my Grimoire Sacrifice for the buff. And what do I have? That's part of my mage. Hold on. It's only supposed to load on my mage. Sorry about that. But I start off like that and get my Grimoire Sacrifice up. Make sure I've got my Dark Intent up, which I can't find. There it is. Then to start off with, unlike Demonology and Destruction, you don't have to build up your resource. You automatically have 4 soul shards. You can pop all your cooldowns at the beginning, which is what I do personally, because it'll put those on cooldown and let you use them earlier in the fight again, maybe an extra time in the fight. But I'll start off. I'll pop all my cooldowns. Depending on the fight, I may pop the Doom Guard, because at the beginning it's probably one of the only times that you're going to be able to line up all your cooldowns at once, unless you save them for a specific part. Which saving them for a specific part can end up with you losing a whole set of using that cooldown. So I usually don't do that. Unless I have to, say the fight needs me to, like for the Elegant Orb phase, where you've got to nuke down Orb real fast. I save some of them for that. But I usually don't for any other kind of situation. And since none of mine really have the same cooldown, that ends up being an issue. Even though the potion doesn't say it, it's got a 1 minute cooldown. So the way I start off is I pop my cooldowns, and I've got a macro for soul swap. It puts up all my dots. Move that. It puts up all my dots at once without having to hit soul burn and then soul swap. It does it all at once. This is what it looks like if you want to copy it. And it does have a little few bugs. If you're out of range and you hit it, it'll use soul burn, but it won't use soul swap. So I have this over here on the side, because if you hit it again, you're going to use another soul shard, and it's kind of pointless. I also have this here, so I can use soul burn and seed of corruption. But most of the time, it usually does work. It does have a few minor mishaps. But I start off, pop my cooldowns, use soul swap, then haunt. Then I'll spam Malefic Grasp until there are 3 seconds left on haunt. Then I'll use haunt because that'll the 1.35 second cast time plus the time it takes to get from me to the target. It'll hit right as the other haunt ends. Then after that, as soon as the unstable affliction reaches the last second, is about the time that my Dark Soul misery starts to wear off, and then I'll use Soul Swap to get all of my dots up there instantly to make sure it has the effect from Potion of the Jade Serpent, Dark Soul Misery, and my Trinket. Then past there, you just go to normally refreshing your dots with these, and whenever you get a proc, which one of them is my trinket, another one is the tailoring enchant, even the wind song if you're using that, or jade serpent if you've got the money to use it or you're exalted or whatever. Those are the only times you're going to be refreshing your dots. You can refresh them, like say whenever you use your glove enchant if you have engineering. But if you pop it and refreshing it in the middle of the dot, it's not all that great. You're going to want to wait and you use your gloves right as the dot's ending so you're not clipping a dot. And one of the things they added is pandemic. It causes it to where whenever you refresh your dots, as long as there's 50% of the base duration left on it, you won't be wasting any of the dot. So you can dot clip like the last 2 or 3 seconds, you'll be fine. And say you have to refresh your dots and it's a little bit early, you get a little bit longer on that. You can actually take advantage on it. So say whenever I have all 3 of these up, I can clip all of my dots and make them go to the full duration, which is the full duration plus the 50% extra that Pandemic adds by not clipping. Will give you upwards of, 26 seconds on Stable Affliction, 32 seconds on a Corruption, and somewhere near 40 seconds on Agony. But that takes a little while to actually get used to. I'm going to go through my rotation real quick to show you how I do it. I'll pop Doomguard right off the start, but I know a lot of people like to pop it at the 20% health because it gets a little bit more damage. But some people pop it whenever they have all the cooldowns up because the cooldowns can add up to be more than that 20% boost. Depending on how many cooldowns you have, you can pop the stack. So, here we go. And you'll see right as Haunt hits 3 seconds, I'll cast it, and it'll hit right there at the end. And right as Dark Soul Misery ends, I'm going to be hitting all 3 dots right there. I got another proc. I'm going to refresh my dots right here. And then Haunt has 3 seconds left, so I use it again. Then from here, you're going to want to try your best to only spam Malefic Grasp, or only be spamming Malefic Grasp during Haunt, because if you're using anything else, it's DPS loss, like refreshing dots. Although sometimes you have to, because you have a proc or something. And that's pretty much just the rotation. I don't want to use an extra pot, because this is usually where I do put it right with my glove enchant. But that's the rotation in a nutshell. There are rare times where you do get a little bit low on mana. That's whenever you use Life Tap. I usually use it somewhere around 30% mana. It's a little bit safer. But that's pretty much it. I hope you like it, and leave comments and anything that you suggest for any other videos that I may do.